one of the positive surprises in the last season of Trackmania and then qualified into the playoffs. Now it's going to be a more stacked group stage, but I'm once again joined by Riolu. Riolu, we are a few days away from the start of the fall 2020 season. How are you feeling? Are you as confident as last season? Are you going for the win this season? Tell people, how is life at the moment?
All right, so thanks for having me once again. It's been, feels like yesterday since we talked the last time here on the interview, so it's great to be back. So yeah, Trackmania Grand League has been quite a hot topic in the last weeks due to several things. I have to say, for me, my motivation was there in the beginning, like when Grand League was announced and when things started to like pile up in the background behind the scenes, when, you know, things started to emerge a little bit, when we started to get to know when the Grand League is happening, like all the behind the scenes stuff. I was like, fuck yeah, Grand League. It was really fun. Season 1, I got second, as you said, which was an extremely pleasant surprise. Also, the playoffs have been pretty good for my expectations. So I left Season 1 with an extremely positive mark, and also my organization, Nordavind, they have been extremely happy about it. So we've all been looking very forward to Season 2, and I still am. However, at the moment, there's quite a lot of stuff also outside of Trackmania that I'm dealing with. So I don't have as much time for Grand League as I want to, sadly, because the Grand League maps, you sure saw the maps, they're extremely difficult this time around. The 6 maps for Step 1 are kind of mental, actually, with really difficult identities, with generally just a very hard level. And also the players, as you said, extremely stacked, much more stacked than Season 1, I think. So I didn't put as much practice into the Grand League so far. Now we have a few days left till Step 1, and I think I'm kind of the guy. It reminds me of school, where I started to learn for the exam one day before the exam. So I'm kind of doing the same thing, where I'm slowly starting to pick up the maps. I've done some good progress yesterday and the day before yesterday. That's when I kind of started to take it a bit more seriously. After I got some wake-up calls by watching other streamers. I watched Spam, who is really, really good. It was kind of a wake-up call for me to finally get going and to get on the level I'm supposed to be on. So practice is slow but steady, and I'm hoping that I can be on a considerably good level for a Step 1. I'm trying to be realistic. I think Step 1 isn't going to be like super amazing, but I'm going to try to keep my points at least. That's going to be the goal I'm going to put for myself. I'm going to try to keep the points everywhere. Try to be consistent, avoid making big mistakes like respawns or something. That's always the goal I have. And I'll keep it low for Step 1, and then the more I progress through the group stage, I think the more motivation I'll also get, and the more time I will put into it. So yeah, we'll see.
You mentioned outside circumstances. I don't know how much you want to go into your own circumstances, but overall in Trackmania Grand League, there has been this open letter released by all the players. Can you quickly just say, has that affected your motivation overall for this season compared to last season, when there wasn't at least a vocal problem from the players?
Yeah, so the whole thing, it really started to boil up behind the scenes, of course. We've had the player council, of course. It was spoken about in the letter. So we've had the player council, and we just got our heads together, sort of, and talk about how can we improve the situation? How can we solve it in the most professional way without kind of jeopardizing our position in the Grand League, without hurting people in the best case? You know, just to speak up, raise our opinion, and to maybe make it for a better change. So we started to work on the letter and posted it in public. Also, thanks to you, Eirik, for bringing some exposure to it. But yeah, it feels like not much has come out of it, because Nadeo really seems to be stuck with their vision, which is, you can argue about it or not, but yeah, that's what it is at the moment. So not a lot has changed compared to what it was before the letter. About motivation, I have to say, personally, it did not affect me too much, because the Grand League is still important to me, no matter how it takes place. Because, you might know I'm a full-time player now, and I'm also full-time kind of bound to the Grand League as well, with Nordavind, because Nordavind is there for the Grand League, and no matter how the Grand League takes place, I kind of got to be there. And yeah, of course, it's bad to accept the circumstances, but you still got to make the best out of it, right? And that's what I'm doing right now. So the motivation wasn't really too affected. I'm still just sticking to the plan. I just want to play some Trackmania, you know? I just want to have some fun, play some Trackmania, compete against the best players. That's also going to be exciting. And that's pretty much about it. So the letter did not really affect the motivation. It was more like just a lack of time and, you know, outside stress, but not really the letter or anything.
But then I have mentioned on some Let's Talk Trackmania, some Trackmania lives previously that maybe now the players are like, fine, we accept it because we understand we cannot do anything. And now you're more like, okay, now I should maybe focus on what is important for me, and that is to perform. Is that the same case for you? You just let this stuff behind you, and now all energy is towards actually performing in Trackmania Grand League?
Yeah, pretty much. I think there's no better way of handling it, because we've tried what we could, you know, we've tried everything, and it only got us that far. So I think putting more energy into trying to make a change is probably not going to, you know, it's not going to benefit any of us. So the most important thing is to just focus on performing. And Hylas has said on social media that if things are not going to work out, they will look into it for the upcoming season. So I guess that's kind of a, you know, bright star in the future, or, you know, something positive to look forward to. So yeah, I guess we're just going towards that, and just try to make the best out of it as players and still compete and still have fun. That's the most important thing, have fun, because it's still just quote unquote a video game. We're here to have fun and to compete at the same time. And as long as that's not lost, I think it's gonna move on at some point. We're just gonna keep going.
And once again, I bring up a topic that's more suitable for a Trackmania podcast than a Trackmania live. But let's move over to the positive thing about it, and that is that we will actually have some gameplay. We'll actually have the best players in the world playing against each other on Sunday. You placed second in the group stage last season. To me, it was a positive surprise, I have to be honest. But for you, are you still aiming towards maybe a top 3, maybe a win? Because it seems like the group stage format, when you have to be consistent, when you don't have to lose points, it's sort of a format that is made for riolu.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is. I do really like the endurance format, and I think I've proven in Season 1 that I can do it, that I can perform. But now you have to look at the big scope of Season 2. It's a new game. It's harder maps, at least now. Maybe the maps are going to get easier in the upcoming steps, since we only have 1 week to train instead of the, 6 weeks that the Step 1 maps have been live for. So the maps are probably going to get a bit easier, which could be good, it could be bad, we'll see. But yeah, my goal is always to get to the top 8. You know, I want to get to the playoffs. I know I can do it, and despite the more stacked field, with more talented, with more motivated players being in the field, I think I can still do it if I actually focus, if I put the time into it. Consistency is my strength, and I think I can do it. Winning is always something, like, even in Season 1, I never thought to even get that far. I never expected to get second. So I'm going to keep my expectations kind of reasonable for Season 2 as well. I can do top 8, I know that. And anything else is going to be a bonus, I suppose. At the moment, it's probably a dice roll. Like, everyone can do it, right? Everyone can perform good. It's pretty much impossible to make a call, because every single one of us, 16 Grand League players, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And we can all prevail one way or another, depending on the maps as well, depending on daily form, depending on other factors as well. So yeah, group stage, top 8, I'll do it. And for the rest, we'll see.
But do you think that this season, for people that don't know, last season didn't have a prize pool for the group stage, this season has it? Do you think that that will make the group stage more stacked? So maybe it's going to be a battle for the first place, and we're not going to have like Carl Jr. being away from Step 5 and Step 6.
Yeah, possibly. I haven't really thought about it, but you do raise a good point. I think the prize money that is now up for grabs in the group stage, it can be a motivation. I mean, money is always good to have, right?
Yeah.
And I think people are going to fight for it. I don't really see I don't see a reason why not. So I think it is going to be more exciting due to that factor as well. So maybe we will not see Carl dominate all the time, even though he could if he wanted to. Carl is a robot. He's so good. But yeah, I think it's going to be super exciting, and it's probably going to add more pressure to us as well, knowing that everyone has what it takes to win. So it's going to be super exciting. I think you're going to love the races, like the spectators. Despite the point system, that's a different story, but the races themselves, I think, are going to be super exciting.
But then if you move over to the playoffs, then I see you as one of the more secured players to actually be in the playoffs. But do you think that the playoff system that for the first time will actually be played out in this sort of way will suit you more than the Cup mode did in Lyon, or is this worse for you? How have you thought about the sort of playoffs that we haven't even seen in a sort of competitive format in Trackmania before?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I have to be honest, I kind of put that away, the thought of the playoffs. I didn't really think about it too much, actually. Mainly due to the initial disappointment that we've had, but also because I've had other things on my mind than that. But yeah, Cup mode has always been like not a problem for me. I can play well in Cup mode, but it's obviously harder for me to, let's say, take a win in Cup mode than win in 6 laps. So I think it could be beneficial for me to have this new playoff system. But since it also requires winning to move on, it's gonna be hard to tell, actually. So it will probably depend on the maps for me as well. There are some maps that will definitely suit me more than others. For example, a map with a lot of dirt is probably going to be really good for me. I feel very confident on dirt in the new game. I've learned a lot, also thanks to Track of the Day and stuff like that. So I've got to learn a lot of like small tricks that others don't do. So I think on dirt I have a good advantage at the moment. Not really on ice. I think on ice I'm rather slow compared to the others. But yeah, well, I honestly can't tell. I would like to think it benefits me, for the confidence boost, for the motivation boost, but you can't tell. It's impossible.
But then I said that this is the most stacked field we have seen, at least in Trackmania Grand League. You also said that this season is more stacked. Do you have any idea about who you see as a favorite? Who do you see as, if you were a betting guy, who would you put your money on to win it, to place on the podium?
To win the whole thing? I mean, people ask that on my stream all the time. And my go-to pre-recorded answer is that I always say that Carl is an easy pick. And I'm going to say it here again because it's true. Carl is always an easy pick. He performs, he's good, he's a monster, he's amazing. So putting him outside of the top 3, I think, would be a very risky bet. So I'm going to say Carl. And for the others, I think there are so many players that I kind of don't want to name anyone. Because it's so hard to actually predict how everyone's going to perform in the new game as well. We haven't really seen a lot of competitions in the new game, so I don't know, man. It could be someone like Pack. Pack, if he trains, he's almost unbeatable. It could be someone like Scrappy, who really played outstandingly in Season 1. Scrappy showed that he can do it. He showed that he's an amazing player with great consistency as well. It could be someone, it could be me, Who knows? Or it could be Gwen.
Yeah.
You never know. Gwen is also someone who a lot of people expect a lot from. So it could be Gwen, could be Afi. I think Afi is kind of it's a raw diamond, in my opinion. I think Afi has a lot of potential. And we'll see how he copes with everything in Season 2 of the Grand League. But I think, my money could also go on Afi, actually. And yeah, also Papu. Papu is really good. He once said that he wasn't fully fond with the new game a few weeks ago, that he wasn't super confident with the new game. But I think he also learned it by now. We all know that he's extremely disciplined with Gamers Origin. He's, of course, also one of the few full-time players in Trackmania. And we all know that he takes it super seriously. We saw that in Season 1. He improved greatly as a player, and I think in Season 1 he learned how to learn, kind of. So I think the knowledge he got from season 1 is going to be good for season 2 as well. So Papu also someone you shouldn't forget. Also Spam is looking good too. Yeah, the list goes on. Honestly, it could be anyone.
Need a big podium here in Trackmania Grand League to fit all the names you mentioned.
We need to put everyone on the podium. Everyone's a winner. At this point, being in the Grand League is a massive privilege, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the players should strive for, and I think the Open Grand League players are doing so, because at the moment it's the place to be if you want to be competitive. But final question from me: you are a part of Nordavind, one of the biggest orgs in Trackmania Grand League. You have a manager in Bergie. Have you talked about, or have you talked to him about expectations for this season from your side, from his side, and what do you Nordavind overall expect from you this season?
So behind the scenes, we obviously talked about season 2, especially due to the open letter and everything that happened. You know, we've been in touch, and they're aware of the situation as well. And yeah, I'm not going to give away too much about what came out of the talks and everything. But yeah, we're still looking forward to season 2 because we do still see the potential in the Grand League. That's why we're in the game, and that's why we're still holding strong, and that's why I'm still there as well, because I do still believe that the Grand League, and also with the announced World Cup and everything, that it has potential to get somewhere, but it needs to be done good, and it needs to be done with the correct people, and that is the realization that we all came to. But yeah, about Bergie, he's also been pretty busy lately, just like me, so we haven't talked a lot, but we are in touch. Talked with him earlier, actually, so we are in touch. Expectations will be similar to season 1, because it's kind of meeting with my expectations, with my capabilities as well. They don't want to expect, you know, too much and put too much pressure on me, because they know being in the top 8 among these best players is already a great achievement. They know that, and they appreciate, you know, everything that I put into this. So yeah, expectations, just what I told you. Top 8, get to the playoffs, make the best out of it, and just have fun.
And final questions. You are on this channel, but you can promote. Where can people follow you? Who is going to cast for Nordavind? Because essentially every org has one cast. Who's going to cast for you this season?
Yeah, correct. So the same system keeps going on. Season 1 had the 16 streams for the 16 orgs. It's going to be the same for season 2, and it's going to be the same caster again. It is going to be Virtual, who will be delivering the cast for you in English language. For Nordavind, it's not going to be a super biased cast, so it's going to be held in a similar way than season 1. So obviously he will focus on me for some aspects, but he's still going to give you a very good overview over the Grand League steps every Sunday at 8. So you can check him out, or check out all the other talented casters as well who are going to be in the boat, and just show your support for the players that you cheer for, and yeah, just enjoy the races.
And yeah, that's it for today. And enjoy the race yourself. Enjoy Trackmania Grand League. And it's 6 steps, so don't be surprised if you have to come on to talk about at least one of your performances. Hopefully a good performance, right?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, you know where to find me, right? So you can always ask. I'm up.
Yeah, and I'm not shy about asking, so I will ask.
Awesome. Good.
That's it for riolu. And now a little break, and then on to the next interview. Thank you a lot, riolu.
Yep, thank you too.